Order. 310.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
Would you
morning.
send this for me, please?
Yes, indeed.
Is there any mail?
One letter for you, Miss Carter.
Oh, Miss Carter, I was coming to see you.
Yes, Colonel Wilde.
I've just been out to the development. There's some men out there. I saw unloading sections of a prefabricated house onto my property.
Yes, I'm afraid it was too late to stop them. I've just cabled Mr. Varela.
Well, I thought I'd made it perfectly clear that I do not want the house. Isn't it enough, Miss Carter, to have been sold a tract of worthless land?
I'm quite sure under the circumstances, Mr. Varela will not expect you to accept delivery of the house.
Hope not. A building development in the middle of a swamp. Look at your brochure.
It is not our brochure.
Retire to a tropical paradise. Own a home where the trade winds blow. The land's practically underwater. Your prefabricated houses would sink right into it.
Mr. Varela has nothing to do with the Trade Winds Corporation. He merely undertook to deliver the houses here from Florida. He also put up a bond guaranteeing payment, so you see he has much more to lose than you.
Then why doesn't he do something about it?
He sent me out here to find out what was going on. Now I know he will decide what to do when he gets here.
He's coming here.
That is what I've been trying to tell you. I've just cabled him to come out here immediately.
Do you mind? I like to see the view.
By all means.
Your first flight?
No.
Are you nervous?
No, you see, I suffer from agoraphobia.
Do you mean you've been bitten by a mad dog?
No, that's hydrophobia.
And you've got it?
No, as I say, I suffer from agoraphobia.
Is it contagious?
Hardly. Just an unreasonable fear of open spaces, that's all.
You're sure?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, here, have one of these.
Please, no, thank you very much, no.
A drink before lunch?
Port and lemon, please, dear.
And you, Mr. Varela?
No, thank you.
Are you sure, Mr. Varela?
Yes.
We'll be in the Bahamas in a couple of hours.
Good.
Poor man. He suffers from hydrophobia.
Hydrophobia? I better call the captain.
No need for that. I just told this lady I suffer from agoraphobia, which is a fear of open spaces. Now, do you mind if I take a nap?
A real live wire, that. If they're all like him in the Bahamas, I might just as well have stayed in Blackpool.
afternoon, sir. Good flight?
Splendid. Yes, Carlos Varela is the name. I have a reservation with you.
Oh, yes, Mr. Varela. The Calypso Suite.
Thank you.
Your secretary is waiting for you. She was here just a moment ago.
Good. Would you send my luggage upstairs, please?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Miss Carter.
Hi, Mike. Glad to see you.
Problems, eh?
Plenty.
Tell me all about it.
Mr. Varela, you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
Allow me.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Charming. And definitely English. The thank yous, I mean.
Yes.
Funny people, the English, you know. Whenever they find themselves at a loss for words, they keep on saying thank you over and over. You can almost hear Charles I saying thank you to his executioner.
I hope you're not being telepathic. Her father bought one of your houses. I'm afraid a number of these people are going to lose all their money. They've invested their life savings.
Supposing you start at the beginning, Miss Carter.
Perhaps you'd better glance through the cancellations first.
Our client, Mr. William Cassidy, has instructed us to instigate legal action against your company as misrepresenting particulars concerning property development and sale of homes. Who's Mr. Cassidy?
He's from New York. He bought one of the plots of land from the Trade Winds Corporation, and we agreed to supply him with a prefabricated house.
All right, so the house sections are here. Why isn't it being assembled?
They can't be. The property is underwater.
Underwater? So that's what Mr. Lamont and his Trade Winds Corporation have been up to, eh? All right, in any case, he sold them the land. We didn't.
But they think we're one and the same.
Well, how many cancellations like this have we received so far?
33 so far, but there'll probably be more.
That could put little old Mercury International right out of business, you know.
Varela!
Yes.
You're a scoundrel, sir. If you were in the army, I'd have you court-martialed.
You all right, sir? Shall I call the police?
Don't you dare. If I were a man, I'd have done the same thing.
Francie?
I'm all right. It's obviously a mistake. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, but I apologize. I lost my temper. I should have left the whole thing to my lawyer.
This is Colonel Wilde. I spoke to you about him, remember?
Yes, for a moment I thought it was Cassius Clay in disguise. Perhaps if we sat down, sir, you could tell me what it's all about.
All about? You know very well what it's all about, Mr. Varela.
Francie?
Your tie, sir. Is that a Gurkha regiment?
Well, no, that's quite correct. 19th.
Ah, yes, the brave 19th out of Surat.
Oh, do you know that area?
Father, does this really interest you, Mr. Varela, that we lived in Surat for years?
Miss Wilde,
My father's army career was long, dedicated, and honorable.
I have no doubt about that.
Honorable, Mr. Varela. He deserved his retirement. That's why he came here, to settle in the sun and find some peace. That's why he bought a plot of land from Lamont and a house from you.
So?
Mr. Varela, the land is impossible. It's virtually a swamp. Nothing can be built there.
Oh, but it could. That's the legal loophole. We could build there if we drained the land, if we were millionaires.
Have you seen Lamont about that?
Well, as a matter of fact, he offered us an alternative site.
Well,
At 6 times the cost.
I see.
Mr. Lamont has made the same proposal to the others.
Don't tell me you didn't know about this. Come on, Father.
Mr. Varela has just arrived. I haven't had a chance to tell him of our conversation yet.
Perhaps if you'd let me explain. I'm an import-export agent. I move goods from A to B. Recently, I bought a job lot of prefabricated houses. Then I met this Robert Lamont, whom I'd never seen, but his bona fides seemed to be in order. He had land to sell here in Nassau. I had houses, thus...
You must have known what the land was like.
Mr. Varela hasn't even seen it yet.
Why did he go into partnership with these people?
Mr. Lamont has never been a partner of mine, Miss Wilde.
Your name appears on his brochure.
Then it was without my knowledge or permission. Mr. Lamont's only suggestion was that we should cooperate. My houses would help sell his land and vice versa. Everybody would profit, including, or rather especially you, the buyers.
Oh, yes.
Colonel, we're in the same boat. If I can't sell my houses, I stand to lose far more than you.
Isn't that your business, accepting such risks?
Yes, but with every failure, I die a little. Here, in my wallet. Now, Miss Carter, I'll go and see Lamont, and after that, you'll take me to the building site.
So,
Thank you.
What are you going to do?
See Lamont, find out what can be done about this. Colonel, is Wilde.
You know, I think we may have misjudged him, Francie. Seems quite a nice fellow. I mean, doesn't look like a swindler, does he?
Father, if a swindler looked like a swindler, he wouldn't last long, would he?
Good morning, Mr. Lamont. Come on, please.
Who's calling?
Carlos Varela.
He's not in.
Where is he?
How should I know?
You really should take the magic memory course, you know. Will do you a world of good. My firm represents the originator. Shall I send you a pamphlet?
Are you some kind of a nut?
Has anybody told you have the same color eyes as Deborah Carr?
I have?
Mm-hmm. Trusting?
Me?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
I'll be with you in a moment.
Hey, you can't do that.
Your perfume.
Hey!
Varela, my partner in crime. Well, well, well. Wasn't expecting you. Won't you sit down and make yourself at home?
Thank you.
Betty, get Mr. Varela a drink.
No, thank you. I'd rather not.
Sure?
Positive.
All right, Betty, you can go. You know, for someone I'd helped make $100,000, you're not very friendly.
You didn't really expect me to be, did you?
I don't see why not. You sold a lot of houses.
These are all canceled orders.
Oh, it doesn't mean a thing. Those people all signed contracts. They can't cancel.
I intend to let them.
You are Carlos Varela.
Yes.
But you're supposed to be an operator. Why else do you think I got in touch with you to handle the houses?
Since I had no reason to think otherwise, I thought this was a perfectly genuine business operation.
Well, it is. The land's there. It's a little damp, but it's there.
I know. No one can build there.
Oh, yes, they can if they drain the land.
Am I to understand you don't mean to return any of the money?
Of course not. You want to see one of the brochures? It's all perfectly legal and above board. I even offered to let them trade in the land if they don't like it.
What for?
Well, take a look. 50 acres of the most beautiful beachfront on the island. Now, I'm willing to discount 1/3 of the value of the property they bought if they will buy one of these lots.
Very generous of you.
I thought you'd see it my way.
Well, not exactly your way, but as they say, I'm beginning to get the picture.
You know, I might be able to use those houses of yours, Varela. Take them off your hands. Save you all the trouble of having to ship them back. Let's say at about 1/3 below cost.
Well, I must say, I find it hard to resist.
Now, that's more like it. Maybe you'll change your mind. Now, we can do business together, Varela. We're birds of a feather.
A distressing thought. For the birds, I mean.
Huh?
By the way, someone gave me something this morning. I think it was meant for you.
Well, what was it?
This. Great for duck hunters, isn't it?
But hardly for home builders.
Well, Barnum was right. There's a sucker born every minute. Now, you'd think people would advise to this mail-order land scheme, that they want to see the land before buying it.
I remember someone who agreed to provide houses on land he'd never seen before.
Oh, so do I.
I wouldn't worry too much. Remember the Florida land boom? The Americans bought land in the Everglades that was actually underwater.
Yes, and the South Sea bubble. The English really went for that one, didn't they?
They found oil in the Everglades.
Yes, Miss Carter, they found oil.
Oh, you get dirty.
Thanks.
Paddy cake, anyone?
Now, look, I want you to get me Chin on the phone as soon as we get back. Tell him I need him here on the first plane, not to come to the same hotel, not to recognize us under any circumstances. For the time being. And something else. Get me long distance call Houston, Texas. I want to speak to the information operator. Good evening, Colonel. Miss Wilde.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Varela. You know, we were just saying what a pity it'd be if we do have to leave. Just beginning to feel at home. No salmon fishing, of course, but...
You will find a blue marlin just as sporting, Colonel. And how are you, Miss Wilde?
We were just going.
Please, think of my reputation. To have the loveliest woman in town walk out on me. Can't we declare a truce?
You might as well know, Mr. Varela, I don't trust you one bit.
An uneasy truce, then. Nothing new in our century. And you must try some his potion. He calls it passion. Guaranteed to melt the sturdiest of hearts.
So you can recommend the marlin fishing?
Absolutely. It's a very surprising creature. Witty, devious, cunning.
You must get on with it very well, Mr. Varela.
Mr. Varela.
Yes.
Good evening, Colonel Wilde, Miss
Good
Wilde.
evening.
Would you excuse me? I have a message from Mr. Varela.
But of course.
May we?
I've just heard from Chin. He's arriving tomorrow. I booked him in at one of the other hotels, but he wants to know what to wear.
What to wear? I thought he was the expert.
No, he means who do you want him to be?
Oh, A very wealthy Chinese businessman from Trinidad. There's a large Oriental population there. Tell him to wear what Charlie Chan would wear.
A relative?
Sometimes I wonder. Look, I want you to sell all my London bank stock.
But the market's in a slump.
Unfortunately true, but I need all my cash in a local account right now. Have you got round-trip tickets to London?
What are you up to?
Well, I don't want to strand it here if we run out of cash.
There may be some other problems coming up. There's a gentleman to see you outside, a Mr. Prentice. I hope he's not another Cassius Clay.
Don't you worry, I'll take a less trusting stance. Mr. Prentice? Thank you, Miss Carter.
That's me, Alfie Prentice, Houston, Texas.
Nice meeting you. You didn't take any time getting here.
Well, you said it was urgent, and on a thing like this.
Well, I'll tell you, it is urgent. And you're the only man who can put us right in this matter.
I don't trust that man, Father. What do you suppose he's up to?
Now, Francie, we mustn't judge him too harshly.
All that talk, the brave 19th out of Surat.
You're speaking of my regiment.
Father, don't you realize what he's doing? Well, he's just making believe he's interested in order to soften you up.
Nevertheless, I like the fellow.
Well, something's going on, and I intend to find out what it is. Penetrate the enemy lines. It's good strategy, isn't it?
But don't get captured.
Well, you see, I had to send my equipment on by air express. It's kind of heavy, but it ought to be here by tomorrow, and then we can get right out to the site.
Yes, Mr. Prentice, look, we don't want to be too loud about this matter, you know.
Alfie. Everybody in the Panhandle calls me Alfie.
Panhandle?
Well, that's what they call Texas in Texas.
Oh, I see. I thought they called it Texas.
They do, but in Texas they call it the Panhandle.
Yes, well, now, Mr. Prentice...
Alfie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alfie, I must beg you to be most discreet about this whole matter.
Oh, Miss Varela, you can ask anybody in the Panhandle. Old Alfie's the closest mouth cowpoke in the whole state. Why wouldn't let a word of this strike get out even if you were to slap a branding iron right on my flank?
Well, I'm sure that won't be necessary. You see, I don't want to jump the gun.
Yeah.
If any news should leak out before the discovery is confirmed, there would be false hopes and so forth, you understand? So, how soon can you make certain?
Well, first of all, we got to sink a test bore, and then we get a sample of the substrata soil. That's usually a pretty good indication.
So we should know by tomorrow evening?
I say by then we ought to be cooking on gas.
Cooking on gas?
Yeah, that's kind of a Panhandle expression. It means everything's under control.
Well, good. Now, look, there's a nice room waiting for you upstairs. I'm sure you're tired. Why don't you just lie down and we'll see you first thing in the morning?
Yeah, I am a mite bushed.
Good. Anything you need, just call.
Boy, you sure got some good-looking fillies around this range.
Yes, they do. Well, look, you're tired and they don't allow any cooking in the lobby.
You kind of got that wrong, haven't you, Mr. Rupp? You mean courting instead of cooking, don't you?
Oh, I thought in the Panhandle everything was,
Not everything, Mr. Varela. Not everything.
Maybe, sir?
Yes, thank you. Go.
Okay.
I told you they were up to something.
Now, Francie, what could he be up to?
I think they've discovered gas.
Gas.
That man said something about cooking on it by tomorrow night.
But gas, here. Incredible. Perhaps he meant they were installing gas mains.
Of course, that's it.
But if Varela's installing gas mains, that must mean he thinks the property can be drained. Perhaps things aren't so bad after all.
Maybe, but I still don't trust him.
Colonel Wilde, I wonder if I could ask a favor of you.
But of course, my dear fellow, what can I do for you?
Are the people who bought the land from Lamont with you here still?
Most of them, I believe.
Could you talk them into coming to a meeting here tomorrow night?
Well, now, my dear fellow,
It would be to their advantage. I could have things straightened out by then. If you'll excuse me now, I must go, but do you mind if I ask your daughter for dinner, even if I don't ask you?
No, of course not.
Would you?
I'd love that.
Thank you. I'll call you later.
I thought you didn't like Varela.
Well, he has a certain charm. I suppose all crooks do. Anyway, I want to find out what he's planning.
Charlie Chan.
Very perceptive. Most flattered by resemblance to illustrious detective, but Leglet cannot claim relationship. Your facial characteristics, however, similar in very great degree to Trixie Fleganza.
Who's that?
A very famous movie star. One time, big heartthrob.
Oh. Well, what do you want? Mr. Lamont has a hotel send out his laundry.
A matter I have to discuss with Mr. Lamont, far more important than relative values of Chinese laundry service.
Well, he's not here. And if you're one of those people trying to get him to buy back your land, he's not interested.
Buy back? You do not understand. I am not here to sell. On the contrary, I wish to buy.
To buy?
Of course. Having led a most descriptive brochure detailing beauties and unsurpassed climatic advantages trade winds development, have elected myself representative substantial group Chinese businessmen. We desire to purchase remainder of plots which your estimable employer has for sale.
Oh, well, Mr. Lamont isn't here at the moment, but if you can spare a couple of minutes, I'll try and find him for you.
Urgent matter like this cannot wait. My associates instruct me to make firm offer. Take it or leave it. Certified check for remainder of plots. Amount calculated on basis prices listed in brochure.
Well, I don't know.
Surely a highly type executive lady like you have authority to accept order accompanied by certified check.
Naturally, but where did you say you come from?
Island of Trinidad. Very wealthy Chinese population there. Extensive land interests.
You've seen the property?
Not yet. In eagerness to buy, associates say not to bother. Go look at it now while wait for Mr. Lamont.
Oh, no, you won't want to do that. I've got the deeds right here.
Always favorably impressed by initiative displayed by Western ladies. Not like a Chinese proverb which say, woman business is to get married.
I thought George Bernard Shaw said that.
He take it from ancient Chinese proverb.
Oh, well, the deeds are here. Now, if you'll sign this, I'll make out a receipt for you.
Mr. Lamont no doubt make you his partner for negotiating important sale.
Here's your receipt. What do you and your partners plan to do with this property?
Much thought, much concentration involved in our deliberations. Final conclusion, since much of land underwater, we make it into rice paddy.
Of course, you really can't tell anything until the heavy equipment gets here.
What about the surface contract? Would that suggest anything?
Well, back at Texas University, you see, the professors of petrology.
Petrology?
Yeah, that's kind of a fancy name, see, for the study of rocks.
I see.
Well, anyway, you see, there's three classes of rocks. Igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic.
Oh.
Anyway, these professors have had a suspicion that the coral subsurface of some of these Caribbean islands is really overlaid on a base of sedimentary rock. If that's true...
Hello?
You know something, Mr. Brella?
A little later, Alfie.
Chuck, man, no time like the present.
Yes, I know, but...
You know, if your hunch is right, we're standing on the biggest deposit of...
If we did what you asked, they'll all be there tonight.
Well, thank you. I would like you to meet Mr. Prentice, Miss Wilde, but we don't want to keep you near the mud.
I wouldn't be all that formal, Miss Wilde. I mean, just call me Alfie now. Well, if I was to see a cute little filly like you running down on a panhandle-eyed rope and tire in 10 seconds flat.
Well, I hope you won't try it here, Alfie. It's too muddy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Let's,
Oh, don't say mud, ma'am. If you only knew who we were standing
How did you know to find me?
You've heard of woman's intuition?
Yes, I have, sadly enough. But I don't think you're the only intuitive one. I'm beginning to feel we're back in Piccadilly Circus.
What's going on here, Varela? Just what are you up to?
Surely you can't object to my looking over the property. After all, I must think of my prefabricated houses.
Yeah, well, who's that man?
Friend of mine, we share the same hobby.
And what hobby is that?
Petrology.
At what?
Petrology. Surely you're familiar with the igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic aspects of subterranean glacier deposits.
Glacier deposits?
Mm-hmm. You see, Alfie's from Texas University. He's a geologist. I also take a keen interest on that in petrology, which is the study of rocks. Only as an amateur, of course. You see, we think, Alfie agrees with me, this land has been under water for centuries and centuries, you see, and we presume there's a very interesting deposit of marine and vegetable life buried here, perhaps semi-fossilized.
Marine life? Semi-fossilized?
Positive.
And I suppose Alfie is planning on taking his findings back with him?
By all means.
Well, let me set you right, Mr. Varela. Alfie's not taking anything back with him. You see, this is my land you're standing on. You're trespassing.
Mr. Lamont, I'm amazed. A man of your connections. You better phone the office right away. I think this land has been sold to a Chinese gentleman, I understand.
A Chinese?
From China.
Just a thirst for scientific knowledge. A Chinese gentleman.
It's as I suspected, Alfie.
Eh?
On an island this size, you cannot keep a secret.
What's all this about a Chinese gentleman?
Oh, you heard. I was going to surprise you.
Surprise me with what?
I've sold all the remaining plots of land.
You sold what?
I sold all the plots that you didn't sell. And I shall want a commission for it, too.
Who did you sell them to?
I thought you knew already. A Chinese gentleman. He's going to build a rice paddy.
A rice paddy.
Uh-huh.
What's this fella's name?
Charlie Chan. Oh, I didn't mean that. Here, his name's on the check.
Chin San. You gave him a receipt?
Yes, sir.
Get the bank on the phone. I want to speak to the manager.
Mr. Alwyn, please. It's very urgent. Here.
Hello, Alvin? Just a minute. Get Vincent. I want him right away. Alwyn, I'm sorry. Look, I've got a certified check here for $250,000. Yeah, that's right. Chin San. What? Are you sure? Right. And you want a commission?
His check's no good?
Oh, it's good, all right. Oh, yes. But it's drawn against the account of Carlos Varela. Vincent, I want a complete rundown on Varela. A report on his business and personal activities. I want to know what he was doing with that man out at the lots and why he's financed that Chinaman to buy the rest of the land. Oh, and there's a meeting set with the property owners for tonight. I want to know what happens. You got all that?
Yeah, sure. Just one thing. What am I supposed to be looking for?
A reason for buying up a parcel of land Varela knows is worthless.
For each of you to drain enough land to build on would be completely uneconomical, out of the question. But if the land belonged to one investor, then the drainage could be tackled as a single major venture, conceivably at an economic cost. Therefore, Mr. Varela has invited you here tonight to discuss the buying of your land.
Thank you, Miss Carter. Now, what I propose to do, ladies and gentlemen, is take out an option on your land. A short option, say 24 hours, at the nominal sum of $1. And this time I expect to confirm that land can be drained and raise the money to buy you out.
How much are you offering us?
Oh, 2/3 of what you paid. It'll let you cut your losses.
If we sell, what will you do with the land?
Build, of course. You seem to forget I have a consignment of prefabricated houses. I'll put them on your land.
If we sell.
Well, that sounds reasonable enough to me.
Now, just a minute. None of us should rush into this.
I'm afraid there's a certain urgency. I need an answer tonight, now, this very minute.
Why? Why is it so urgent?
Oh, I have my own reasons. Besides, you only have worthless land. At least you'll come out with something.
It seems a very fair offer, Mr. Varela.
Good. Miss Carter has already drawn the papers. If you will kindly step up to the desk and sign, the option expires tomorrow at 10 p.m.
I still...
Fancy, what is the matter with you? It is a very good offer.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I'd appreciate if you treat the matter as confidential for the time being.
Mr. Varela,
Yes.
the preliminary report you asked for.
Ah, yes, thank you, Alfie. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. See you later. Bye-bye now. I'll join you at the bar. Have a drink.
I'm sure Mr. Varela is only trying to do the right thing.
The right thing. But, Father, for whom?
I'm sure you won't regret it.
Thank you. Good night, Mr. Varela.
Colonel, Miss Wilde. Good night. Good night. Not bad, eh?
Drain the land and build. He must know if there had been any chance of doing that and showing a profit, I wouldn't have sold the land in the first place.
There was something else. Just as I was leaving, this man came in. Varela called him Alfie. He handed Varela an envelope and said something about a preliminary report. Varela locked it away in his desk.
You tried to stand in my way this evening. Still don't trust me?
I still don't trust you.
I find you very lovely.
You say to all the girls.
Only the lovely ones. I'm selective. And now I'm impelled to kiss you.
I must go.
I would like you to trust me.
I'd like to be able to.
Then why not?
Semi-fossilized marine life.
You really don't think I have an interest in geology, do you?
Do you expect me to?
Perhaps not. It's funny the way people react when truth stares them in the face.
The truth.
Yes. I had a friend who was a smuggler, in a small sort of way only. Each day he would push his little wheelbarrow across the border, smile at the guards, and move on. Until one day somebody, squealed, and the guards got wind he was smuggling. From then on, every day, they stopped him. Every day, and they searched the little wheelbarrow from top to bottom. But they found nothing. So they got angrier and angrier because they knew he was smuggling, but they couldn't find him out. Neither how nor what. One day they took the little wheelbarrow to pieces. The whole thing, not one single piece of evidence. And when they... Excuse me. Don't bother to call. They'll never catch him now.
Your friend with the wheelbarrow. You didn't finish telling me. What was it he was smuggling?
Wheelbarrows.
These are the lots Betty sold to Chinaman and Varela's land. Strong probability main deposits in this area. Suggest first operations commence here. You found no written report, huh?
Just the map.
Suggest first operations commence here. This way, over here. Take a look at that, will you? Looks like some kind of drilling rig. I've seen drilling rigs like that before in oil fields. Sludge pumped up from below. Get this analyzed. Go on, move.
You lost?
Lost? No, I couldn't sleep. Insomnia, I thought I'd take a walk. I guess I must have gone astray.
You can say that again.
Yeah, I must have gone... Say, who are you?
Chinese gentleman who purchased property.
Ah, you and Varela. Well, I know what you're up to, and you're not going to get away with this.
I must inform you, Mr. Varela, very nice gentleman, not trying to get away with anything.
And what's this equipment doing here?
Used to secure sample sedimentation.
What are you going to do with the samples?
Determine whether land suitable for lice paddy.
It's a rush job.
The results, man, the results.
Positive. Of course, I don't understand all the details. The breakdown of the substratum soil, a residue of mineral phosphates.
But there is oil.
The sludge has oil-bearing content.
Enough to merit drilling operations?
But definitely.
Now we know what it's all about. It's funny. I had that land surveyed. There wasn't anything in the report about oil.
Oh, I asked the analyst that one. You had your land surveyed for building purposes, but your surveyor could easily have overlooked it. He would have made a few experimental probes. But he wouldn't have been looking for oil, It's a hit or miss thing.
Okay, what else?
Varela's trying to float a short-term loan. No takers.
What's he want the money for?
Like I told you last night, he asked the owners for a 24-hour option on their land. He's got to get up the money by 10 o'clock tonight so he can buy them out.
What's he offering as security?
The land he bought from you.
See that he gets it.
Gets what?
See that Varela gets the loan he wants. I'll lend him the money.
Mr. Varela, I have some marvelous news for you.
You negotiated the loan. Good. Let's get some coffee now.
The bank turned a stand flat this morning. I don't blame them. The land, they know all about it.
Exactly. It's all in the mind. Who made the offer?
A financier.
Who wishes to remain anonymous.
How do you know?
The usual pattern.
His representative is waiting in the foyer to see you. Mr. Varela, he's waiting downstairs for you.
I received you loud and clear, Roger, and out. Now do have your coffee.
Don't you think we ought to go?
Miss Carter, didn't you know that Drake finished his bowls before facing the Spanish Armada? And General Sherman his book? And Napoleon? Napoleon. Oh, well, I suppose Josephine was always around. Never rush headlong into the big battles, never. Now, Carlos Varela will finish his coffee and then we go. Now we can go.
This is Mr. Varela.
How do you do?
Haven't we met before? Ah, yes, last night at the meeting I held, but you had your glasses on then.
Glad to know you, Mr. Brown.
Well, Miss Carter says I should be glad to know you. Shall we sit down?
I hope we can do business.
I'm sure we can. I take it she has explained to you the kind of operation we have in mind.
You know, I thought we might take a look at the south side of the island this evening. They tell me there's a
We
marvelous...
can't, Father. There's a meeting tonight, remember?
Oh, bless my soul, yes, of course, I've forgotten all about it. Varela's going to buy our land back. So perhaps we're out of the wood at last.
Well, the terms of the loan are satisfactory. As Miss Carter told you the urgency of the matter.
You have to pick up certain options before they expire.
By 10 tonight, I must have the money by then.
It's going to be difficult, but I think I can manage it. Be at my office at 9:30 tonight. I'll have the money and the contract waiting.
No, but you're on the other side of town, aren't you? It'll hardly give him the time.
I'm afraid I can't make it before 9:30.
Oh, well, it'll have to do. See you then.
Right.
Thank you. How about a drink, Francie?
Thank you.
He did, huh? Swallowed hook, line, and sinker, eh? Well, that's fine, just fine. I warned Varela, didn't I? Nobody puts one over on me, but nobody.
Tu che a Dio spiegasti l'ali, ma dall'alma innamorata. Lass mich gehen, ich liebe dich.
Hello? Miss Carter? The door's right open. Come in. Are you all ready for the meeting? We're gonna make a killing tonight. We can't let the property owners in on it, though. Till later, Lamont might get wise. They are the pawns in the game. Check and mate, I hope, Miss Carter. Miss Carter?
Ah, Mr. Varela. Right on time, I see.
I have a deadline to meet, 10 o'clock tonight. You have the contract?
Sit down.
Thank you.
This is your copy of the contract signed by us. I wonder if we could have your signature. 3 signatures.
They look in order. Anyway, I'm in a hurry.
In view of the urgency, we thought cash might be more acceptable than a check.
Ah, yes.
$150,000, Mr. Varela.
Well, I must say it's a pleasure to do business with you.
I'd like you to check it.
No, but I'm sure I can trust you implicitly.
I must insist that you check it, Mr. Varela. You see, I'm responsible. If it was short, you understand?
Oh, very well.
Good evening.
Evening. I see the pawns are out in force. Mr. Varela not here?
He will be. Would you like to take a seat?
$48, $49, and $150,000. Now, Mr. Vincent.
How about a drink?
No, thank you. You see, I'm late as it is.
One for the road.
No, some other time. Thank you. Goodbye now.
Bye-bye.
was quick with knife. So, very quick.
How did you know?
Wisdom of Orient.
All right, you get me that hotel and fast. How much longer do we have to wait?
Perhaps Mr. Varela has changed his mind.
Is that it? Is he backing out?
Please, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Varela promised he will be here, I assure you. Mr. Lamont.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It is now exactly 10 o'clock, and your obligation to Mr. Varela is discharged.
You can't do that.
The option that you granted him has expired, so now we can get down to business.
Business? With you?
Well, why not? You were prepared to sell to Varela, why not to me?
You want to buy this land back?
Precisely. Well, this is what I
Why
have
the
in mind.
change of heart?
Perhaps a twinge of conscience.
You'll have to do better than that.
Oh, indeed, yes. A few days ago, nobody wanted this land. Now we have 2 buyers.
Very well. If you want the truth, I very foolishly overlooked what Mr. Varela did not. That in the hands of one investor, the land has profitable possibilities.
So you intend draining it too?
Yes,
And building?
that's right. Now, let's not waste any more time. Betty, my secretary is now distributing some new contracts, which I have taken the liberty of having drawn up. All that remains is to fix a price. Now, let me see. What was it Mr. Varela was offering?
I think we should all wait until Mr. Varela
Rather
gets...
more than 2/3 of the original price. Wasn't that it?
$12,967.
Quite so. Well, we won't carp about a few dollars. I'll make it a nice round 13,000.
13,001. I know. 13,001. I'm topping your offer, Lamont.
13,050. Now, friends, that's a very reasonable offer.
13,550.
And 50.
14,000.
14,100.
200.
3.
Yes, but that's the price we gave in the first place.
$14,300.
14,000.
And I'll grant you all options to buy some of my land on the south side. Now, that land is perfect there. Absolutely guaranteed first class for building.
At what price?
At the same price as the same size plot you already hold. Now, I'm practically giving money away.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
You
please
can't
allow
stop
me...
that offer, Varela. Well, folks, what do you say? You'll be crazy to turn it down. Betty?
He finally got his comeuppance.
Yes, but at the hands of Lamont. Mr. Varela, I'd like you to know that I'm a man of my word. And the fact is that I gave you the first option to buy my land. And what I want to say is that, I abide by that decision. The option is still yours.
Colonel, I'm touched by your generosity, but I can't allow you to hold an agreement.
No, I must insist, sir. My deed is still for sale to you.
In that case, I can't but accept, and I thank you, sir.
Good.
Well, it appears we shall be neighbors.
Oh, I don't think so. I need all that land. Room to breathe, you know.
You don't think there's any question of my relinquishing my land, do you?
Yeah, but you already have. You negotiated a loan tonight, right?
Yes. How did you know?
Well, I can tell you now. I advanced you the money. Well, you put up your land deeds as security for that loan, didn't you? Well, I'm foreclosing. You can keep the money. I'll keep the deeds.
You cannot do that, you know.
But I can. The contract you signed was very carefully worded. You want to see a copy of it? I can, and I have. The deal is legally concluded, and I shall have sole control of the oil.
Oil? So that's your idea of helping us. There's oil on our land, and you knew it. You were going to buy our land at 2/3 of cost.
Mr. Lamont is mistaken, Francie. There is no oil in the land. I never said there was.
You're a bigger crook than he is.
Now, Francie, be careful what
We
you're...
have no obligations to Mr. Varela now, nor do we have the capital to launch an oil company. All's fair, so make us a bid.
Francie, please, now.
A bid, Mr. Lamont. With our plot, you own the whole area.
15,000.
Not high enough. This plot's close to the diggings he's been working on.
Very well. 16,000.
Done. Where do we sign?
Just above my signature.
You're all making a mistake. The value of the land remains exactly as it was, gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Varela. I didn't know you were busy.
It's all right, Prentice. What is it?
The final report.
Ah, report on my land. I think this should belong to me. Now we'll see who's been making the mistake, huh? Rice patties. What's all this? A lot of junk about some rotten old seaweed.
No, marine vegetable life.
Yeah, well, where's the real report?
Real report?
That's all there is, Lamont, I told you. Alf is from a university study group. Geology, remember? I found some traces of buried marine life in the soil, and I thought it would be a good gesture to let my friends study it.
Very kind of you, too, Mr. Varela. Not many businessmen nowadays take an interest in pure academic studies. Always want to know where the profit is.
But the oil.
I never said there was any oil. Not once. Well, did I?
No. No, but I thought you were... And those samples, there was oil.
No. Oh, I see. He must be referring to these oil traces in the samples we had flown in from Houston, Texas for comparison, you see. We couldn't do the checking. Somebody stole the most important jar the other night. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll all be back in the market for some very good prefabricated houses. Would you care to place your orders with Miss Carter? I'm sorry to interrupt, Colonel, but Francie and I have some business to discuss. You see, I would like you to take over a new line for Mercury International.
What is it?
The sale of wheelbarrows.